alternative fuels are an important lever, and have been for some time, an important lever to reduce the emissions from fuels. And of course, they also offer us an opportunity to provide a positive environmental service to the community in disposing safely of waste materials that might otherwise be hard to dispose of. So coming back to FLSmidth, I'm sure that all of you have heard of FLSmidth. It's a 135-year-old company founded in Copenhagen in 1882, and since then it's grown to be perhaps the best recognized engineering and equipment company in the cement world.
And thank you to the World Cement Association for setting up this webinar and this opportunity to present our alternative fuel solutions and technologies. Paper type waste, as long as your gas residence time is high enough, it can really handle a lot of alternative fuels, a lot of waste type fuels, and also tire tips, not big tire tips, but small tire tips up to 15 millimeters. You can have a relative high substitution, and if needed, it's the velocities in the riser section can be adjusted to handle quite high substitution rates of tire tips. One of the reasons this is possible is because the large particle stays in the bottom zone. And here you will have ample time for drying, ignition, and combustion. And the bottom zone is also where the high oxygen level is, and that's what needed for a combustion of the alternative fuels. The fuels will, due to the low velocities in the calciner, they'll fall back and recirculate several times. And this enables a particle combustion time of easily 20 seconds, 20 to 30 seconds, and even in some cases up to 60 seconds. And only when the particles are small enough, they get lifted out with the gas, and then they carry out. And that is what the residence time of the calciner is needed for. Also depends on the sulfur level. Unfortunately, when using alternative fuel, sulfur levels quite often also increase. If you have unburned fuels entering the back end of the kiln, your sulfur recirculation will increase. If you have unburned fuels entering the charge from the kiln burner, sulfur recirculations will increase. So it's this balance you need to match, how much chlorine and how much sulfur at the same time. Typically, if you exceed 1% chlorine, that's where your problems will start. And then what happens if we remove the heavy part by a wind sieve and only use the parts that has a wind sieve velocity less than 5 meters? In this case, indicating much less fuel on the charge. In numbers, it's quite significant, maybe just a quarter of the as much of the fuel hitting the charge as in the raw sample. And again, here also an example where you have the raw moisture content of 20% and dried to 5%. It also makes the flame much hotter and much less of it reaches the charge before it's burned. And in combination, making a wind sieve of your fuel and drying it to a 5 to 10% level, it will make it possible to substitute very high levels of alternative fuel in nearly all kilns. 80 to 100% will often be possible. So the moisture is not really a limitation for the combustion. It's just a limitation on the ID fan. It's a volume limitation, and that has to be taken into account.
Do you notice on that point on the ID fan? Do you notice that with so many countries having overcapacity of cement, that's less of an issue in many places than it was? Yeah?
That's why this is less as an issue in a country like China, because of the high capacity out there.
My recollection of this is that it doesn't really influence the strength development of a concrete. It's more a relation to risk of steel corrosion for steel elements in concrete. So it's not much about the setting of the strength development properties we are concerned about.
So it's more long-term durability and
for particularly for the steel elements in it. 15% thermal substitution rate itself is not a high substitution for any inline calciner without just a decent amount of retention time available.
No, but it could, of course, as you said, if they increase the capacity a lot more in design, they also may be having high velocities in the calciner, so it very easily carries into the kiln. And in that case, we would recommend opening up the calciner diameter and maybe also increasing the height of the calciner.
Yes.
And then not go for 15%, but then make a better payback and go for 50% instead.
Right.
Make a business out of it.